Hello, Dental A Team listeners. This is Kiera, and welcome back to part 2 of my chat. If you liked part 1, you are going to absolutely love this. I am so excited, and I can't wait to dive right in. Lauryn, I'm very curious. Like, you've talked about it at length. Like, what do people do? Like, what's the how? How do we get into this? How do we have multiple streams? Because agreed, all eggs in one basket. Oh gosh, it's to me that's like just a ticking time bomb. Like one bad day, one bad patient, one bad procedure. Like it's just going to explode because you're sitting on the edge of fear all the time to where you are in like cortisol, adrenaline, like you are pumping. And then what you do is you go into complete shutdown because you can't handle it anymore. So your body and your system literally like just shuts down on you. You become apathetic to life. Things aren't exciting for you anymore. You become very numb to walking through the world. And it's like, I feel like the world of color goes into very like gray. It's very subtle. It's like there's no life left. It's just you are living life, but you're not actually being and living day in, day out. So what are some tacticals? Like I'm so curious. I love to hear.
So I mean, ultimately what you have to, I'm no cash flow expert. My husband would like laugh. Not he wouldn't laugh. He'd just be like, oh, what's she gonna say right now? So like cash flow will multiply the more you start putting your money to work. Okay. So it's very, very step one is simple. It's exactly what you said. You have to have cash flow coming from your clinic. You have to. Like you need to spend less money than you are bringing in. Okay.
Ooh, love that. Ding, ding, ding. All right. Great. Got it.
So it's like, it's simple. And what did you say? Like you said, there's only 3 ways to make it happen.
There are.
Like you either lower your overhead,
increase what you're producing. So like for how many
see more people,
you're seeing, and or collections, because a lot of times you're producing enough, but we're not collecting the money that we're actually producing. And that then people are like, I have no money. And I'm like, you have 500,000 sitting in your AR that's not collected. So you actually have money. You just have a broken system of how to collect it. And to your point, my husband said this very early on when I started the company. He said, like, Kiera, don't lose money. He was like, Kiera, I'm not going to give you any rules, any parameters. He's like, just don't lose money because that's going to cause a lot of strain on us. And I thought about that.
Husband.
It's like, go, like, yes, it's a great plan. Like, it's really been a good thought for me. But it's like, if you are going to lose money on having a business, go be an associate for someone else. Like it's a hobby at that point. It's not a business. So I'm like, if you're not going to have your business make money for you, like truly no judgment, go honestly be an associate, go work for someone else. So you're taking home a paycheck. When owners are working for themselves and making less than they are as an associate, I'm like, we have a big problem here. And now you're mad because you got way more problems. You can't just clock in, clock out and leave for the day. And I'm like, that's actually not a business. That's a hobby.
And they're like, but I have the freedom.
When I'm no freedom.
Like, you don't have freedom. No. You can't afford a vacation. No. Like you, and also like, what? You have no freedom.
Stop lying to yourself. Just because you own a business, like people are like, I wanted this to actually like have more time. And I'm like, yeah, tell me how that's going for you.
How's that working for you? Yeah.
Probably not great. All right. So we got to have a business that actually cash flows.
Yes. So step one is very simple, but not, is you have to fix the pricing structure, the collections, your payroll bloat. You need to look at the profit margins of your clinic. It's very easy, very difficult, but very easy. Like,
and they're industry specific too. I don't know how it is in chiropractic, but I know in like dentistry, we say right now, even with all the things like I want 30%. We're talking all things, fringe benefits.
No, that's pretty, that's pretty healthy.
Like 30% for payroll, 25 to 30 is about average. And we aim for, I don't know how it is in chiropractic, but I aim for a 50%, not including doctor pay, 50% overhead in dental practices, 30% of doctor pay. Cause I'm like, that's what you're going to get paid as an associate. So like, let's at least pay you that. And then hopefully we've got a 20% profit, but that profit, debt services click in, and that's a real fun zone. And taxes, like, I love it. No, you're not getting your W-2. People are not taking taxes out. You own this business. All that money comes to you. So do not get trapped in that like tax trap. But like that's a very simple formula. And you look, what is my supplies? What are my rent? Like, what are all those things? And if you figure out the benchmarks, then you know which one am I bleeding money on, quickly fix that hole. So we stop bleeding. It like, again, it seems so hard. And you and I are on the other side of that equation saying, no, actually, it's like real simple. You just look at it real quick, figure out what it is. You can build your practice to support whatever numbers you need, or we cut. Usually it's easier to increase production and collections than it is to cut. But a lot of people are just overspending in ridiculous ways that I'm like, no. Like I have a practice. I looked at their numbers. This year, Shouldn't giggle. I did giggle because I was shocked. They're like, here, we have no money. And I was like, all right, send me your P&L. Let's take a look at it. So I did. Year to date, they produced 528,000. So they're doing about 85,000 per month is what I calculated when I ran the numbers. But when I looked at their take home pay, they're taking home. So it's 528. I'm super happy for them. Like, there's no judgment on that. They're taking home 250,000 of that 528 is going to the doctor, which again, I'm happy that they're taking home the money. But what's happening is the practice is not producing enough for that. They're running all their kids through it. They're running their cars through it. They're running everything through it, which again is not a bad thing. But if you don't have cash in your business to hire people, I was like, we're a little off on the
One of my favorite things to teach people is because people are like, I just want to learn tax strategy. I want to learn tax strategy. And you're like, okay, here's the thing about tax strategy is you can only do tax strategy. Can't see, I'm doing air quotes here.
Air quotes. I see them.
If you have money that you don't want to give the government, if you are spending as much as you make, and the government's like, yeah, you're good. You don't owe us anything. Like, there's no strategy to be had. Strategy can only apply to profits, like, like to money you've made. So that's where it's like, okay, I get that you really want tax strategy, but like you don't need strategy yet. You just need to create more.
You just need money to then pay taxes on. Then we can talk about what it's going to be.
Then we can talk strategy.
Yes.
But yeah, so like that's where it starts. The next hard part.
Ready.
And this is where I kind of touched on, like, we went into this career because we believed this career was going to take care of us while we took care of other people. And so everybody's got a little different version of what that means. What car they think they should be driving once they have made it, what their house situation should look like, how many vacations, if they're buying their spouse, designer bags and things like that. Like, we have in our head, once we make it, what life will look like. And so after you fix your cash flow thing, the next thing is like, you got to kind of continue to live below your means for a while. Because if all of a sudden you've fixed your profit margins and you have an extra $30,000 flowing into bank accounts a month that does not have a job, like, and you're just like, woo, we're going to move into a bigger clinic. We're going to hire another doctor. We're going to do this. And all of a sudden that potential, but like, you have to have money in excess to build wealth upon. If you fix the first problem, which is we don't have enough money. Okay, great. Now you have enough money. And then instead of building wealth, you buy a Birkin, which I still keep sending my husband all of the memes and reels that, like, Birkins are apparently, they are also appreciating, they're beating the S&P. So I'm just saying maybe a Birkin was a bad example because that would be an investment.
I mean, why not? I think that there's a lot we could probably justify in the investment realm. Like, it's fine. I'm here for it.
But no, if it's like one of those things where if you just lifestyle inflate, after you fixed your cash flow issue, what's going to happen is you're going to you're going to have like golden handcuffs where you're like, well, yeah, the clinic is bringing in 1.2 and like, yeah, I do keep 350 of that, but I still, like, I'm paying off my because your student loan payment now is increasing, and like this, and like your mortgage and all of this stuff. And you're you have the potential, if you're not careful, to feel just as squeezed financially, even though you've gone to the next level of salary and income. But you can still feel that exact same financial scare. And so like, that's one of the things where it's like, okay, you have to figure out the balance for you and your spouse, because like my husband is definitely, so this is from Garrett Gunderson. He's a really great financial wealth advisor. I don't know if he's in your guys' world. Yes.
Definitely.
Okay.
We love him.
Yes. So he was on my podcast and he was talking about how basically within all the relationships that he's coached people through, there's basically, he used a different word, but right now I'll just call it the saver and the spender. Okay. Now the spender tends to be the visionary, the CEO. It tends to be the person that's like taking the risks to build the things. They're like, we had a record year. We're going to reward ourselves. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Life is fun. This is great. This is like, and then they often marry a saver that is just like, I don't need all of that. I don't need another vacation. I don't need a fancier car. I don't need this. And it can actually make them very uncomfortable that, so my husband is, we'll call it the saver. And our travel budget a year is insane. Like we should definitely be putting that towards crypto and like buying a duplex and like building more. But if someone told me like, no, here's the plan. You get one trip a year and and we're going to just like invest all of this money. And then you can start around 45, and then at 50, it'll open up a little bit more. Like, I'd be like, well, that's no fun. I don't want that. And so you have to figure out, because there's a ditch on both sides of the road, right? And so you have to figure out like, when do you want to retire? Like, what is that number? What is that freedom number? How much money do you need coming in like passive investments? Like how much do you need your crypto portfolio to be doing, like your real estate portfolio? What's that number of monthly income or annual income? And when do you want to get there by? And this is going to be so dependent on whoever you're talking to. Like if you're 50 and you're like, I want to get there by 55, and you're starting not great. Like, yeah, okay, you know what? Your travel budget, you just need to not worry about that for 5 years. Like you got some work to do. But like if you're sitting here at 35 and you're like, well, I'd like to retire by 50. And like, I still want to take our kids on some vacations, but I do think we should be, then you just got to pick where are you pinching pennies? Like, because you got to pinch them somewhere. So like, maybe it's not designer handbag season. Maybe, it's not getting the newest vehicle. Maybe you'd rather live in a bigger house, but drive a more reasonable car. Like whatever it is, maybe you have no problem giving up vacations, but like you need that pool in your backyard. Like there's a ditch on both sides. I think that as this couple, you need to come together and figure out that equation where even after you're getting some of these doctor luxuries that you've worked hard for, there's still money left over that is being invested wisely.
I love, Lauren, that you talked about Garrett Gunderson. And I love that there's the saver and the spender in every relationship, because this happens. Like it's a real thing. And I love that you talk about like, okay, step one is like, you got to make money and you got to keep the money. So it's like, make the money and keep the money.
Make the money, keep the money.
That's all. Like, okay, if we could just follow that. Jocko Willink, he's got a quote that says like, discipline equals freedom. And it sits in my kitchen, which I think is a very smart place to stick this sign. I see it all the time. And I'm like, that really is step one, is like discipline on this. And I think that there's like, one of our consultants, she says, choose your hard. And I think about this, like both sides have a hard, like spending all the money has a hard of like being broke. Saving the money has the hard of you've got to actually put like parameters in place. So both have it. But for me, I'd rather sleep at night knowing I've got money in the bank rather than like sitting there wondering how I'm going to make payroll. Like to me, that's the hard I would rather choose. I would rather not choose the other side. So I'm going to be disciplined there. And then I really started working on, and I heard at a conference about like just an easy way. Cause my husband, I'm the spender, he's the saver. And it's really thrilling for me because I felt annoyed. I felt like I was dragging him like an anchor. Like we're going on vacation, we're buying the cars, and like, don't like cut my wind out of my sails. Like I was so angry about it. So we actually had to make a vision board of both of us. Like what are his dreams and what are my dreams? And we like put it up on the wall. It literally sits in our bedroom. And it was one of the best things I ever did because he was then able to see what inspires me and what I'm excited about, what's important to me. And I was able to see what's important to him. We also figured out like what's our BAM, our bare ace minimum as a couple, and where we want that. And then when you're talking about like the savings, I really found this awesome principle where it's kind of like, ultimately, what does it actually cost you to get to financial freedom. And when I did this exercise, and I do it with a lot of clients, you can actually break it down. So like, what does that like bougie, whatever life you want that to look like, what does that look like? What's your mortgage? What's your HOA? What's the internet? What's the utilities? Like, what's our groceries? What's our food bill? What's our children bill? Like, how many cars do we have on this? And like literally build that out to what's like my highest end. And then you actually scale it back down to basically like, what's my security bucket? Like for me to just survive, like you said, like the monks, like what is it for me? Like scrap it all down. Let's go back to dental school. Let's go back to chiropractic school. Like when I was at my like most broke, but I could scrap, like you guys, I can top ramen like a boss. Like I know I could get through. So like, what is my like minimum amount? Then what I do, so basically taking that all the way up to my financial freedom, like where I've got money making money. It's a money making machine for me. And then how do I actually break that down? So I've got security, then I've got like growth, then I've got independence, and then I've got freedom. And then beyond that are like your prosperity and your legacy buckets. And so when I look at this, it's like you basically just chunk it down. And I'm such a nerd. I really am. I've like learned to fall in love. I like took that amount of like total dollars. Then I looked at like how much money do I actually need to make? What tax bracket am I in? How much do I need like pre and post tax? Like again, total nerd side on my side. But then I was able to look and I'm like, okay, for this practice, I know that for them to be like just baseline, they need to be making about 100 grand a year. Like that's pre-tax. So we know like we're going to take tax out. We can survive. That's like our security. Then our growth goes up to 202 post-tax. Then our independence is at like 553. Well, now I know my mile markers of what I need to do. And I also have those parameters, like you said, of where am I going to penny pinch? This does not mean that I don't have certain luxuries, but it means that I'm like, it's like a gradient and I'm able to see what I'm working towards. And I remember my CPA, he told me once, he said, Kiera, it actually becomes a lot easier to make money. And like once you, like in a few years, once you've bought a few of the things that you really are looking for. And I was like, you're full of it. Like, I don't believe you for a second, but it's true. Like as you evolve, you buy the things you want. You get the house that you want. You get the car that you think you want. You get the designer bags. Like it's not all overnight. And then you're like, wow, I have a decent amount because I've learned to make the money, save the money, not spend everything that I've got. I'm able to then plan for these purchases that I want. I love Profit First, Mike McCallough. He's like my fangirl central every time he's on the podcast.
Sweet.
I like just love him so much, but I'm like, okay, then I have buckets. I have my travel bucket. And you're right. Like my travel amount, that's something that fuels me. So we pump money into a travel fund, but we have those to where I now have budgets and our clients have budgets and you can have budgets. And it's not for me. Clients have even told me that's more freeing than it is otherwise because they actually know I can spend this money guilt-free and go on the trip. I can go and buy this car guilt-free.
And that's probably really helpful for your spouse too. A lot of times the saver spouse, like it's hard for them until there's like an action, like that's the permission they need of like, no, we ran the numbers.
Yes.
And we like this amount of money was proportionally taken and it's there. It's only to be spent on this. And they're like, okay.
And then the spender feels good because they're not just blowing all the money. So it's on this, like, it's a good balance, but I love it. Like, it's very simple. And now I'm very curious, Lauryn, because you talked about like not having your business as your only asset, like that's cash flowing for you. Once we've got, simple, we like make the money and we keep the money, like check that off. Then we go into these, like, I love the idea. There's a ditch on both sides of the road. So which one are we going to do? We figure out like, what do I need today? What are my future, like, kind of nice purchases that I want to? How do I build up to these other ones that I can save for? What's my total number? Like, I know my number for financial freedom is psychotic. When I look at that,
is it really?
It really is.
Because I'm interested that you said that because most people, when they do that exercise, are kind of like, oh, it's surprising to them that it's actually not higher, right? Like,
well, let me just clarify. Let me asterisk this for you, Lauryn. What I found is for me to hit like my security, my vitality, my independence, like we're talking like pretty much up to freedom. It's good. Like we're there. But my absolute freedom, like where I never have to work another day in my life, that number's a little more extreme. But like even looking at it now, because when I told you, it's psychotic. I just pulled the spreadsheet out. What's fun is I built this. I should honestly look. I think I built this spreadsheet. We're going to hold everybody. I know you're like on pins and needles. I'm just going to scroll back to when I actually made this. It's on Google Sheets. So you can go back to like when it was built. So I built this, and I think this is really just telling for people. I built this in 2022. So May 13th, 2022 at 10:26 a.m. is when I built it. We're now recording this in 2025. So we're only talking just over 3 years since I originally built it. I told you, Lauren, that my number for absolute freedom, we're talking like I put it all, because I have a jet in there. I have a charter jet. I have a
You
private
have a jet in there?
like I put all these things. Like it was just, I have like,
Okay, well, most people, when they do the exercise the way I have them do it, aren't putting jets in there.
I'm telling you,
I
this
love
is my
you, Kiera.
absolute freedom. This is the
Okay.
absolute,
We're going to
like,
stay friends
Kiera's
because
living
I
this
want on
life.
that jet.
I mean, girl, you can count,
Kiera
because I just
Air.
like, I wanted to see like, what does this look like? And I want to have like, I don't want to retire in a retirement home. I want to live in a villa. Like I've got some pretty lofty things in this.
Right.
Like we're talking,
Did
I
you
went
put
for
the
like,
pilot costs in there too, or does that just come with a jet?
so my husband actually wants to be a pilot. So that's already like built in. So I've got
Okay.
like that. I also have friends that
Okay.
are pilots, like, you know,
Okay.
YOLO. We're going to
The
have
jet
that.
makes a little more sense now, but yeah.
Thank
Got
you.
it.
Thank you. So on that, and I actually went through this, like I built it the first time, but we're talking 3 years. And I look at that, to have that absolute freedom, the annual income pre-tax would be 4.6 million, which that can sound like an outlandish number. However, based on where the business is now, it's not that outlandish.
No, it's doable.
And that was just a short 3-year period.
And
where
that's
I'm
got
like,
a freaking jet in it.
I mean, we got a jet. I got play money. I mean, you guys, in-house chef, live-in nanny. We've got all the cars. I've got my Lambo. I've got chartered flights in there. Like you name it. And I look at this and I often assess, because Kiera 3 years ago wanted some of these things. And Kiera today might look at that and be like, you know what? Like I actually don't want these things, but this is what I'd rather. I'd rather like buy a house for my parents, or I'd rather do this. But you will shift and change. But it's so crazy, because when I look at that, I'm like, all right. So I know if things get tight in the business, I know, all right, rock on. Like pre-tax, we need to make 100 grand. Like easy. We can handle that. We can create that. We can figure that out. That's again, just a math equation. But then when you look up and you scale up, it becomes so much more doable and realistic. And then for me, I don't know how you feel, Lauren. It's like now the number doesn't feel like, got it. I know actually like what I'm working towards. I know how I can now do the math equation. It's not like I have to make 500 million to be free. It's like, no, I need this money because it will now go into investments. It will go into other places. Mm-hmm. I know how much that's going to generate for me. I know how much it's going to estimate grow. And I don't know, it just is pretty magical. So I'm very curious, like what are your other revenue streams that you recommend when we're looking at this and we're building that financial freedom? We're looking at like, okay, I'm hoping that people listening to this podcast are putting like dots together. Like, okay, got it. Like make the money, keep the money, figure out how I'm going to spend it, but not overspend it, and still keep the money so I don't pinch on that side. Then I'm going to look to see where I ultimately want to get in my life. Now, like, what are some other things? Like if we're there, how did you get it to where you weren't just reliant on your business anymore?
So first I will say that none of this is any tax or legal advice, and you must talk to your CPA or whatever.
Our little disclaimer there, guys.
Yeah, here's my little disclaimer. I am not an accountant or anything, a lawyer or anything like that. So right now, so I just interviewed someone on crypto. So I am really, really lucky that my husband, he's a very early adopter. And so we have been pretty involved in crypto.
Which is why you said do crypto. Like all the things. Like I should be putting this in crypto, not going on trips. I now get it. All right, go on.
So I just interviewed someone on my podcast who's like a crypto investor. And like some of the predictions that the crypto people are saying about what's going to happen with crypto, or what could happen with crypto in the next 5 years, that 4.6 million would be easy.
Chump change.
So like if our current crypto account, like amount that we have invested, did even a fraction of like what, like we'd be pretty good. Pretty good. Even if that doesn't happen in 5 years, if it like takes 10. So crypto for us, and like I said, I knew that like that was the thing that for him, but like I just really got off this interview and I was like, how much did you invest last month? We need to double it. We need to like, and he's like, yay, this is so exciting. And
that's where he'll spend there, Lauren.
I've been really obsessed with a Cartier watch lately, like a real, like, and so I'm already thinking about my 2026 vision board because I'm an Enneagram 3 and we do weird shit like that.
I love it.
So I was like, I want to go to Switzerland and I want to go to Switzerland and buy a Cartier watch because that's where they're made.
Yeah.
And like And now I'm like, maybe we should delay. That would be better put into crypto. And he's just like, this is the saver husband. It's just like, this is the
He's
greatest
loving
thing in
it.
the world. So anyway, so that's one bucket.
Okay.
And he spends a good amount of time each week, each day monitoring. So I won't even call that passive. I think that crypto can be a lot more passive depending on how you do it. I'm not going to get any deeper into the waters here because we are at my limit of understanding of crypto.
Okay, perfect.
I know that you can be very active in investing and there are ways that can be much more passive. Okay. So real estate, obviously, I think that real estate is the secret of the wealthy for decades and decades and decades, and it's not such a secret anymore. Mm-hmm. It comes with its own things. We both experienced 2007. I luckily had just gone into school, but there were people who lost their asses in 2007 with real estate. So not foolproof. Also, not incredibly passive.
I would agree on that. You have a lot of doors.
We throw the word passive around way too much in this, but I will say where the majority currently and where we're next year, how I'm getting to 3 million and this and that, a good percentage of it is very, very active in the personal brand coaching side of things that I have built and have continued building. And so, podcast, sure, that makes some money, but where very actively, where I spend more time on than in my clinic is in the online space of coaching, courses, programs, webinars, membership. And that's when you find, and here's the thing is every dentist listening, every chiropractor listening is okay, so I need to coach other dentists. I need to coach other chiropractors. And it's no, what I'm saying is online, there is a lot of money that can be made. And it's not easier, but it's also not harder. It's its own hard.
Right.
I just solved a different problem for someone. So I had the business that we solve this problem. And then I figured out a way. So we talked about the financial freedom, but then I figured out the time freedom that I wasn't needed there all the time. So I could sit and go, what's another problem that I can sell a solution to?
Okay, let's pause there. I'm very curious. How did you solve the time solution? Guilt-free.
Oh God.
Walking through. I know it's probably a whole nother episode. So do it in
yeah. Well, I mean, you ultimately, you pay for your time. So I am not collecting as much money from my clinic as I could if I was there doing the service. That's just kind of obvious. Right. So I am paying for doctors that I wouldn't need a doctor. I could get rid of an entire doctor's salary if I just worked full time. I could also get rid of my amazing and well-paid director of ops. So this was a big game changer for us you may have a doctor on staff that's your clinic director. They're really in charge of patient care, whatever, things like that. I recommend having a not office manager, a director of operations. Okay. This is not an office manager. A lot of time your office manager is by default, the person who's been with you the longest. We hired in a specific skill set that was going to be my eyes, ears, hands, feet, pretty much everything except my visionary brain. She does HR meetings. She does hiring. She does firing. She monitors stats. I meet with her once a week and I get reports. I pay her pretty well. Honestly, she needs another raise. And so does my other doctor.
So let's just break it down. Hard. I don't want to know exactly what your director of operations gets paid, but let's give a range so people understand. Because I think people don't realize what we're paying for that. So
probably 60 to 90 grand.
Okay, perfect. And for some of you,
depending on your city and things like that.
Yes. And I would say it's probably 60 to 150 depending upon for dentists, the size and practice. I have seen that come through. So again, looking to see where it is.
Oh, and especially if you're running multiple clinics.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you said that though, when we were talking about the audacious number and we're hey, 4.6, it seems so, but you're it's really big. But I think if people were to hear that and think, okay, 60 to 90, if I were to pay somebody 90, but not have to do all the meetings, not all the hiring, not all the firing, what is your time worth? Go to Dan Martell, buy back your time. He's one of my favorites. Like, what is your dollar per hour when you're doing dentistry or when you're doing chiropractic? And could you hire that out? Like, how many hours could you do? Or use your visionary brain to grow the business, grow other things. Well, yes, that's a great salary. It also, I think when we put it with your time, I think a lot of people could see that on a balance sheet of a very good investment, because I think time is one of your greatest assets. So again, I just want to highlight, because a lot of people might think it's
I'm
like
going to circle
200.
back. So, because I said there's like the two different reasons you're burning out, although I've listed like 17 at this point. You know, you've got the person who just wants to care for people and they have to run a business. And then you've got the person who's like, I've solved this. So like, I don't remember who said it, but they basically said there's like two types of people. And this is a really great question to ask when you're hiring. It's one of my favorite questions. Are you the type of person who wants to solve the same problem every day and get more efficient and faster and better at solving that puzzle? Or are you the person who would rather have a brand new puzzle every day and figure out how to solve that puzzle? There is no wrong answer here. You are not a less than person, because people hear that and they go, oh, I want to be the exciting person. And this is why so many people end up in entrepreneurship that shouldn't, is because they hear the air quotes right answer there. Oh, the exciting answer is I want a new puzzle. Most people are not psycho like that. And if you pretend that you're that person, when you're really, this is totally cool to be like a more efficient problem solving, like same puzzle. But that's what a business is after a certain point, you are solving the same problem. And so I literally couldn't. I couldn't. So like, yes, I could say like, well, I had the option of not spending that money on salary and just like stepping into my practice even more and being that director of ops and being that. I couldn't. I was done. At this point, this had been like 12 years. Like this is really more recent. I've been in practice 15 years. So it was really more like 3 years ago that I was like, I can't. I want to. And I feel like a bad person that I'm like, I can still be the visionary. I can still check in and I still love hands-on patients. Like, but like we need to hand this baton to somebody better, because I will die if I have to keep hiring and doing some of this stuff.
How did your team and doctors take that? Because I think people are so scared of like, well, why does Lauryn get to go have 1 or 2 days in the office and we're here 5 days? Like, did you have any of that backlash? Like, how did that go?
Oh, they're like, yeah, your people are people are people. And we can't, as if I don't get, my husband has to talk me off a ledge, once a month about like, can you, Lily? Like, they're just humans who are also living their experience and wanting more money and like seeing you live abundantly and feeling feelings of jealousy. Like, you can't cure anybody who says like they've cured jealousy from their team culture. They are lying. So like feelings of jealousy and greed, these are natural human emotions that your staff is going to go through. And so, I would say that more recently, because like we're talking about like, hey, the clinic numbers are not good enough for abundance and bonuses and raises. We've told you what we need the clinic numbers to be at in order for raises to happen.
I hope everybody listening just heard how she was a CEO and she told them, these are what the numbers are. This is what we have to do. It's not, let me give you bonuses and pay you more in hopes to get that number up there. Like, rewind that, listen to that over and over and over again, because you have to have this. Team needs to see that. Otherwise, this is how you don't make the money and keep the money. You make the money and you pay more money and you're broke.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. And that's how I got to the worst year of my life, biggest revenue, but worst income, was because we had been giving raises based on like effort, and like they're working really hard. They deserve a raise. So an employee can deserve a raise, but there's not money to give them.
Correct.
So like we're simultaneously this year dealing with like, hey, I want to give raises, but like it's got to be here and we're close, but we're not there. They simultaneously see me just fucking killing it in the online space and spending, because also like in the personal brand, like I coach healthcare providers how to launch a personal brand. And so like I talk about like, hey, I got a $2,000 affiliate check. We invested $13,000 from crypto. If you go find me on Instagram at Dr. Lauren B, you will see like my posts are about abundance and what a personal brand can do for you, and how like the behind the scenes of like, yeah, we're talking about diversifying income. Like this is how much our real estate portfolio made last month. People want to know that, but my staff sees that. And so they're like, well, she rich. Why is she trying to tell us that she
that we
can't
don't
give
have
us
money? Oh, because
what
the
is it? And
business, the business.
so like even literally this month, we're in like calm, kind, one-to-one conversations having to be like, you know, but I will say my husband and I, like, this is like real life. These are conversations that literally happened like a week and a half ago where I came to my husband because prior the clinic was all the money. It was all the money. It was the biggest thing. It was really in the last 2 years that things switched, where it was like, oh, now my clinic is like, when do we call my clinic my side gig? Because I'm literally making 4 times as much on this personal brand and digital space. And so we realized that, okay, there isn't money for raises that they want. There isn't money for bonuses. But can I, Lauryn Brunclik, who loves my employees, can I shower them with birthday presents and anniversary presents and Christmas presents? Can I buy them lunch because they saved my ass because I came in late from a podcast recording or this or that? Yeah, because Lauryn can, like, the personal, like, we are fine. We are rich. Great. This is great. But like my head was so like, the only money from a business mind that we can spend is the money that's allowed. And it's like, no. Now we're entering a whole new ball field where it's like, you know what? I can, but it's not going to come from bonuses and raises. Those come from clinic performance.
Right.
And so we are kind of going like, okay, FYI, this isn't coming from chiropractic. This is coming from me loving and appreciating all that you do in this clinic so that I can. So what does this look like? You take a week off and you go golf the greatest like golf whatever courses, and like you just like have this bucket list thing. This looks like you showing acts of appreciation, bringing gifts, buying them dinner, like whatever it is, like showing appreciation for your staff that they are there so you can live your best life. They were there so you could leave early and go watch your kids' dance recital. So like, although our natural instinct is to only show them that we appreciate them through raises and bonuses. And that's what they want. So like anytime you can, do it.
I agree. We like both.
Sometimes you have to figure out more creative ways to show your appreciation to them that they are doing that so you can.
I love that. Wow. Lauryn, this is such a fun podcast. I think like to put a pretty bow on this, what would you say if a doctor, your listeners, my listeners, if they're listening to this, what would you say would be like wrap up takeaways from, I mean, we have gone the gamut. I love this. I felt like we were on the most random road trip of like, we were going to this stop.
I'm sure if we took this entire transcript and uploaded it to AI, it would be like, oh no, you guys are amazing. Here's your silver thread.
That would be amazing. So what would you say would be kind of like key takeaways or things that maybe we didn't get to that you just feel like listeners, business owners, those running the day-to-day clinic, whether you want to be on whichever side of this burnout coin, if you want to be there and serve the patients but are sick of doing the business, if you're on the side of like, gosh, I like just want to run the business and do other things outside of this, like looking at the burnout, looking at the generations that we're going through. I mean, we went the gamut of from investments and passive income to appreciating your team as you as a person rather than the business. Like so many fun, different like ideas and aha moments. Any last thoughts you want to add to put a pretty bow on today's podcast?
All right. Well, that's a really hard question, but you're
I
lucky
know.
I actually do have something to
Hey,
say. I was
good,
like, oh
good.
God, okay. All right. So I was listening to a podcast this morning. Simon Sinek had Arthur Brooks on. And Arthur Brooks is, I don't know, political science, behavioral science, I think behavioral science. And he just very briefly in the interview said that like it's human nature that we go through a reinvention of our career and have to reinvent ourselves every 7 to 12 years. And that's going to happen. So from the time that you graduate high school until the time that you retire, you're going to need to reinvent yourself multiple times. And the more that you fight that, the more that you're at that 7-year itch or whatever. And instead of embracing reinvention, whatever that looks like for you, maybe you're bringing on new services into your clinic. Maybe like it doesn't need to mean you need to lean out at that point, but you might just need a little like reignition, a reinvention of your brand. The more that you fight that, and go, I shouldn't feel this way. What's wrong with me? Like, like if you're sitting there broke and you're just stuck in a place of, instead of reinventing yourself into this wealthy, healthy doctor that you know you can be, but instead you're like, God, I'm 39. I don't have my shit together. I should be making more money. I should like, the more you just sit in this, like, what's wrong with me, it's just going to torture yourself. I truly believe that people, let's say they get 12 years into their career. I believe that there are too high of a percentage of people that literally just plan on embracing the suck the rest of their career instead of reinventing themselves for something joyful and abundant. And that just makes me so sad. So that's what I would say is my final thing is, if you feel wherever you're at in your career, if you're feeling this, like, this is your permission. It's not from me. It's from Arthur Brooks. He's some smart guy. Like, he was smart enough to be on Simon Sinek. All right. He's giving you permission. This is not just a unique thing. This is human nature. And so figure it out. What does reinvention look like for you? And just start doing the work.
Lauryn, that was absolutely beautiful. And I hope people listen. I hope they take action, they take advice, because I think what you just said is so freeing and so beautiful. So I really hope people don't just listen, but actually take action. So Lauryn, I love this today. It was so fun. How can people
fun? We should meet up in real life.
I'm like, when we get in person, I guarantee you'll be someone, we will be fast friends in real life. Like, just loved having you on here today. How can people get connected with you? How can they see your life? Again, I believe like when we watch other people, we become like them. So it's like, I want people like you. I want people that are abundant. I want people like, this is what the podcast is for. This is why we bring people together. How can people get connected with you if they want to know more about you? See what you're doing?
If you related to this, you'll love my Instagram, because this is everything that I talk about. So it's at Dr. Lauryn B, and Lauryn is with a Y. So Instagram is definitely the place I hang out the most. Send me a DM if you listen to this. Like, I am in my DMs all the time. And I would just, that's the best place.
I love it. We are millennials. Instagram's our jam. We're not on Snapchat, all right? It's Instagram, okay? It's going to be that way forever. But Lauryn, I loved it today. Thank you for joining me. Everyone here, I hope you picked up nuggets. I hope you take action. I hope you truly commit to living your best life. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the Dental Team Podcast.